The Israelite people were sick and tired of being servants to the Egyptians, and they wanted to go back to their own country. When God chose Moses to lead Israel out of Egypt, Moses was very confused. He felt like an inadequate leader, so he decided to work on his skills.
Girls only like guys with skills.
First, he tried rubbing his stomach and patting his head at the same time. Then he tried doing that while standing on one leg. Finally, he tried doing it with his eyes closed while hopping on one leg. He couldn't do it and fell miserably to the ground. Moses felt like a failure and walked in small circles with his hands in the air, looking to the sky and shouting,
Why me, God, why?
He continued to do this till he tripped over and fell over a staff on the ground.
God, why me? Why does it have to happen to me?
Moses jumped up and kicked the wooden staff.
Fruitcake? Oh, I hate you. What are you?
The staff jumped up and said,
Not my fault you fell over me!
Yes, it is.
Extremely surprised by the talking piece of wood, Moses jumped to his feet. Not ready to argue with the bossy little fellow, he picked up the staff, threw it over his shoulder, and said to the Israelites,
Help me out, help me out. Let's go. We're out of here.
When the Israelites left Egypt, Pharaoh came running onto the scene, searching for Moses and the escaped Israelites.
Come on, guys,
Pharaoh
let's go.
squinted his eyes as he looked from the east to the west. When he continued to search for Moses and company, his soldiers arrived, riding shiny new chariots. Upon their arrival, Pharaoh beat his chest and let out an earth-shattering war cry. He began shouting out orders to his men.
March, 1, 2, 3. March, 1, 2, 3. April, 1, 2, 3.
His army marched toward the fleeing Israelites. The Israelites looked back and saw Pharaoh's army rapidly approaching them. They shook with fear and gnashed their teeth. Pharaoh's army shouted nasty things about the Israelites' sense of fashion and personal hygiene.
You build pyramids like girls. You eat the Pharaoh's toe jam, and you like it.
You got a problem with that?
The ugliest Israelite began to panic and screamed at Moses.
Were there enough graves in Egypt? What the heck are you talking about?
Moses looked puzzled by the question since he had never counted the graves in Egypt. The next ugliest Israelite shouted,
We'd rather be slaves to the Egyptians than die today.
Out of frustration, Moses hit his staff on the ground repeatedly. Attempting to bring order to the chaos, he slapped his staff repeatedly. Once he had the Israelites' full attention and the staffs, he said to everyone,
Let's go. We're
Next page.
What is happening? Do not be afraid. The Lord will come to our rescue.
He was so confident of this message that he
Yay!
repeated it again, this time in Pig Latin.
Ute, ordile, ilwe, umke, ute, arye, escure.
Moses then did as the Lord instructed. He walked out to the water's edge and raised his staff above his head.
Come on, stop. Oh my gosh.
The mighty waters quickly divided into two sides. The Israelites walked through the parting water on dry land. Meanwhile,
Come on, Pickles.
Hey!
Yeah, try to. Come on, Drew, this way.
Pharaoh's soldiers and chariots, still yelling their war cries, chased the escaped Israelites into the parted sea. But in the middle of the sea, their new chariots broke down. All the soldiers fell to the ground. The mighty soldiers lay on the sea's floor and cried like little babies. Some even sucked their thumbs. Moses and all of Israel made it through the dry land of the divided sea. When they had reached the other side, Moses raised his staff above his head, and the parted water filled the sea again, covering the crying men of Pharaoh's army.
Okay, no.
The water karate chopped, body slammed, belly flopped, and kicked the army until they were still and silent on the ground. Meanwhile, the Israelites were laughing and rejoicing at the victory of their retreat from Egypt. The end.